Hello, freak bitches. Are you using CGI in this movie?
A lot of it.
Yeah, wow. What's that like?
Boring but creative. It's 3 years to make this movie. I'm used to making movies that take 3 months to write.
3 years.
3 years.
Wow.
3 months to write from beginning to end. Something like Snatch was 3 months. 6 weeks to shoot. 2 months to edit.
So Snatch was 3 months to do the whole thing or to write it?
To write it and to shoot it.
The whole thing, from the beginning to the way
Beginning
it was
to the end was 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And then 3 months, say, for editing. So you're wrapped and packed in 9 months, 10 months.
So this is a totally different kind of commitment as
Yeah.
far as your mind and...
Yeah, if I really knew what I was getting into, I would have asked for double bubble on the salary. Because you thought, I think it's going to be a year and a half. It's not. It's 3 years.
Like when you plan a movie like this, a big epic movie, do you have an actual schedule of when you think it's going to begin and when it's going to end, or do...
You do, but, the terrain of filmmaking has changed exponentially, like everything, like with technology. So what was pertinent last year is not pertinent this year. So release dates are a real dog. So we had a release date which was projected a couple of years from when you start the movie. So they go, right, here's a check, make the movie. You're coming out in... We were supposed to come out exactly a year ago. But then what happens is, if you're not a branded movie, you get elbowed off that date. Star Wars or something will come along, and then you're not going to compete with Star Wars. So you've got to move because you can't compete. So you've got a very crowded market with lots of brands. Now, this isn't something that we used to suffer because everyone was equal going into the equation. You give yourself the advantage of having a movie star or something, but that doesn't exist anymore. What exists now is the brand, is the big brother. So he comes muscling in, bullies his way into a weekend, and that's why you can't really get new films breaking through, because those weekends are already occupied. So trying to break through is a real struggle. We had to wait a year for a date, and the date that we're coming out on is one weekend after Guardians. Now, Guardians will be a vast hit, and it's very dangerous being within the parameters of a big movie.
That's a really interesting thing that only movies have to go through these days, right? I mean, it's one of the rare things where people are getting out and going to see something that's been made together in a group. That you're watching media. Like, it's not a live performance. It's something that's been created, and it's going to press play at 8 p.m. on Friday night, and everybody's going to go to see it, and you got to get as many of those people together as you can. It's one of the rare things like that.
Yeah, and it's becoming more polarized. So it means more now. So your opening weekend, everything's about, they know what you're going to make by Thursday evening.
Right.
Right. You're supposed to be coming out on Friday, and everyone knows what you're going to make by Sunday night on a Thursday evening. There's enough clever people out there tapping into clever little boxes, and computer says, da 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 da, and they're seldom wrong. Now, that never used to be the case. You used to come out and the films would get discovered. You used to have a little platform. You start small, go big, that sort of nonsense. Now you just got to come out ball swinging.
And if you don't come out ball swinging, people get very upset and they think that this is a failure. It hasn't lived up to expectations. Even if it's a creative success, nobody likes it.
There's a bit of that. There is an acceptance that if a movie's good, and movies find their own way, usually in the end anyway. But the financial aspect has become polarized. It's too significant of a component in the equation, because it's an art form, right? At the end of the day, it's entertainment and an art form, and somehow you want to unify, reconcile that. So, because they're essentially different, reconcile those, put it in a nice little package. So you put in a pill with a sweet wrapper around it, and then you've got both. And then you should be happy. You should have the substance and you should have the flavor. But now the focus is all on the flavor and not on the substance. And that's result orientated. So your movie comes out and they go, what did it make?
Right.
It's like, slow down, son. What's the movie like? The question, first of all, should be, what's the movie like, rather than what did it make? And it's become too competitive and too comparative financially. And I love a dollar bill, and I like things that are successful. But it has to be secondary to what's primary. And primary is, what's it like creatively?
Well, a film like, not to shit on it, but Fast and the Furious, all I heard about was how much money it made. That's all you hear. It's like the big story. The big Fast and the Furious opening box office, hundreds of millions of dollars. All you see is like, it's going to make $1 billion. Like, why do you give a fuck? Why does anybody who's watching that give a fuck? You're not going to get any of that money. Why is it so appealing that this movie has made $1 billion?
Because it's comparative and it's competitive.
Yeah,
and
but why to people in the audience?
Because it's voyeuristic.
Yeah.
So it's like spectator sport. Who's the winner?
Right.
Do you really care about how they won? You just care about the fact that they did win.
Or like a Floyd Mayweather, you want to find out how much money he made. He made $200 million that fight. Ooh. People get excited about it. It's an extra element.
Yeah. There is a sort of vicarious life that people can have through sports stars, celebrities and success. If they feel somehow related to, or they went on the opening weekend, or they are invested in, then if it's successful, then somehow, peripherally, I'm successful.
Yeah, that gets weird, right?
It does get weird, yeah.
It's the business of movies is a very, very strange business because you're a creative business, but you're also a business enterprise. I mean, you're a financial business. And when it's a guy like you, like your movies have a certain flavor. You know, like you start off with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Like that movie has a flavor to it. And then your other films, like people want to go to see that kind of flavor from your films. Do you feel like pressure in that regard? Like to live up to those expectations or to conform to these ideas that people have of your movies?
Yes and no. Yes and no. It depends what mood you catch me in.
Right.
I like what I do, and I'm going to do it anyway. I just like it very much when people pay me to do it and give me the money to go and do it. So I don't mind the financial aspect of it. I don't mind films having to compete. What I'm after is a reconciliation. And as I say, the primary component should be on the quality of the work. That should be what's primary. But I don't begrudge films being successful. I like them to be successful. I like the competitive element. But sometimes when you're talking with executives, you realise, mate, your priorities are on the wrong thing here. In the end, it is a creative medium, and that is what has to be primary.
Do they get in the way of a guy like you, though? Like,
No.
I would imagine a guy like you, they give you a certain amount of leeway.
They give you all the leeway.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And my experience with studios has been very positive. And they try to encourage hopefully what is your individual idiosyncrasies. They want you to put your imprint upon the work, and they've been nothing but encouraging in that sense. But people portray their agendas whilst you're in light conversation, or they portray their priorities.
Right.
So you want to trust a man because he's a man of substance and to a degree independence. So he's not looking to me to find himself through me. So you're not asking me to tell me who you are, and that's the ongoing battle of life, right? We're all asking other people to tell us who we are.
Right.
And independence from that is a man that can be trusted. I don't want anything from you, and thereby I can be kind to you because I don't need to manipulate you. You're no longer a crutch.